Okay, so now I'm going to go over Chapter 2, Type Tools and Terms with you guys. Just looking at the student handout really quick. Chapter goals. We're learning the terms of typography because they have to do with using InDesign. All the settings and the panels, they're using terms for typography, and if you don't know them, then you're not going to have an understanding of how to use InDesign. So, for example, what is a serif and what is a sans serif or serif typeface? So we're going to learn that, and then also how to read project markup, which has to do with, it's a little code that tells you what size font you should use, and the leading as well. We're going to learn what leading is because it's not a term. That's definitely a niche type term. People don't know. People have heard of fonts. They may not have heard of the word typeface, but basically typeface is it's a type of font that has a family, like a typeface family. For example, Helvetica is a typeface and it comes with a family. It has bold, italic. Anyway, we're going to go over those things. Also, picas and points are the measurements used for type. We don't use inches because they're too big. You wouldn't describe a type as being like 3 inches or 4 inches. You need something much smaller because you're working in a smaller space. If that makes sense. We're going to learn how to use the control panel to edit character and paragraph formatting options, and then also to modify the attributes of a text frame. So the text frame options, I'll explain more of that in a bit, and also apply fills and strokes and insert glyphs. So, and then also we're going to learn, go over the shortcuts for increasing text size and decreasing text size. Sure, you can go up to the control panel and change it, but it's a whole lot faster to use the shortcut, and I did not know it until I started using this book, and now I love it. And also making text italic and bold, you can do that in a shortcut. You can center text in a shortcut with a shortcut. There's a lot, so I'm going to go over as many of these as I can. So without further ado, let's get started. I wanted to go over her IQ test, which I thought was very helpful in understanding why graphic design is very important when it comes to laying out text. Column A is the amateur and column B is the designer. Not that they are necessarily the best designer I've ever seen, but it's definitely has much more design sensibilities. For example, with Sherman Street Preschool, the text frame, let me get rid of this. Okay, for Sherman Street Preschool, column A, there's almost no spacing between the letters and the text frame itself. Like, for example, the 7s in the phone number just blend into the border itself. Whereas over in B, she's added, whoever the designer has added the text frame, in their text frames options, has added padding all around the inside of the text frame so that there's a buffer between the edge of the box and the text inside. And then also here in column A, the leading, which is the space between each line, is the same with this big font for Sherman Street Preschool starts at September 30th, and then it's not adjusted for the smaller text. The Sherman Street Preschool will have its first day, the details of the message. And so it makes the smaller text look like the line spacing is too large. It's too airy and it does not read well. Whereas over here, they've adjusted the leading to be proportional to the size of the font. So there's more space around September 30th because the font is larger, and there's less space between the lines of the Sherman Street Preschool and will have its first day of class on because the font is smaller. So there's that sensitivity to the change in font sizes. Another thing I want to point out with the next one here, Meatball Supper, is that there's something called a display font or display typeface. And actually, you know what, we'll go over that in the next video.